In the last century, most cars came with a jack and a lug wrench. If your family had more than one or two cars, then they might opt for a four-way lug wrench. This had the advantage of giving you some extra torque because it was longer and the ability to spin on and off the lug nuts. In this century, many of today's cars don't come with a jack or a lug wrench. They give you an air compressor, some sealant, and don't expect you ever to take off the wheels. For this car, I had to purchase a lug nut, and if you notice, it's kind of short. And the torque for these lug bolts is 88 foot-pounds. So what do you do if you want to rotate your tires and you have an inadequate lug wrench? Well, Husky may have the solution for you with their 9-piece tire changing set. Whether your car is foreign or domestic, this kit probably has all the parts you need to get that wheel off. But before we can do that, we have side latches to release, front latches. There's even a place here for inserting a cable or a lock if you want to do that. Another latch, another side latch. We lift the hard case cover. There's a little foam padding, and what you get is unique because when I first saw it, I was a bit surprised. You get a full-on torque wrench. You get a breaker bar, which means that short little stubby lug wrench, this will break open any lug bolt or lug nut with its length. You have 3 domestic sizes. You have 3 metric sizes plus an extension. On the domestic side, you get 12-point deep sockets. One is 7/8 inch. You get a 13/16 and a 3/4. Moving over to the metric, we have a 19, a 17, and finally a 21. So between these two, this will probably cover most, if not all, the vehicles in your collection. The Husky 1/2-inch drive torque wrench can go from 50 foot-pounds to 250 foot-pounds and includes a rubber-coated handle. The breaker bar, at over 23 inches long, will give you plenty of torque to break those lug nuts or lug bolts loose. And should the deep sockets not be deep enough to clear the fender wall, with the use of this extender, that shouldn't be a problem. With the 17mm socket attached to the breaker bar, let's do a comparison between that and the VW lug wrench. We attach, go down to the extreme end, push down on the handle, and it's effortless. Let's try the same thing with this one. And as you see, I have a lot less length to work with, which means I have a lot less torque that I can apply. So I am putting all my weight on this, and it finally went. Big difference that the breaker bar can make in trying to get a lug nut loose. Now we need to torque down our lug bolt, and we can do that either in Newton or in foot-pounds. The only problem that I really see is because this unit covers such a wide range from 250 down to 50 foot-pounds, that the scale is very large stepped. So on this, when you turn, you have a range from 0 all the way to 20 when you come back around to 0. So 20 foot-pounds in just one single turn, and then it's calibrated at 250, 210, 170. So big, large skips there. So usually you'd have a smaller range, which actually makes the torque wrench more accurate if you're only working within a small range. For example, for the Toyota Prius, I have one separate torque wrench, and for the Volkswagen e-Golf, another one, because their torque ranges are so vastly apart that I needed two wrenches. Whereas this wrench will actually cover those two vehicles and more. It's just a little different. Now, the locking on this is nice. You just pull down, you turn the handle, you ride up to the torque level that you want, and then you release the ring and it automatically locks in place. So some other torque wrenches have levers at the bottom or nuts that you have to turn to lock into position. This is simply just a pull down to turn and release to lock, which is very nice. Now, to set this for 88 foot-pounds, I had to go to 70, start with the 0 lined up with this line, twist clockwise until I got to 18, because 70 plus 18 gives me 88 foot-pounds. And now I'll be able to torque that lug bolt. We simply come over to the vehicle, attach, bring it down, until you hear a click. Let's try that one more time with the other bolt. .88. So now that's torqued and we're set. By the way, it does come with a certificate of calibration and also instructions on the proper use of the torque tool. They don't get into any of how to actually use this kit with your car. They're assuming that you have your owner's manual and you can follow that procedure. But because people tend to lose their owner's manual shortly after they get their car, it sort of creates an issue if you just buy the kit and you're not sure exactly how to use it. As with the breaker bar, there's a positive lock on the torque wrench to make sure your sockets don't come off. As I mentioned, the 12-point socket will provide a secure fit on any lug bolt or lug nut. And while the sockets aren't rated for impact, really, do they need to be? Because with this breaker bar, you shouldn't have any problem getting those lug bolts off, unless we're talking about a truck application, in which case then you need to step up to a heavier duty tool. And while not a must, a reversing head on the torque wrench is a nice touch. I think for anyone who has 2 or more vehicles and likes to do their own tire maintenance, this would be the great set, because it includes the torque wrench, the breaker bar, your extension, and pretty much every possible combination of sockets that you would need. They're 12 points, they're deep. The torque wrench is calibrated in both Newton and foot-pounds, and it comes with a very nice hard case to protect it. Another nice thing that Husky has done is they provide wells to get your finger around so you can grab any of the tools without having to struggle. And while nothing snaps in, it's held nicely in place with the cover and the foam that closes down on top of it. But again, you can just reach in there and there's a place for your fingers to wrap around and to be able to easily grab any of these tools. If you're looking just to throw this in the back of the car and have it in case you get a flat, this is probably not the tool for you. I don't know that the calibration on that torque wrench would survive very long bouncing around in the back of a trunk. And also, it's just too much tool set at 9 pieces for anyone to be carrying around in the trunk, unless you like repairing other people's vehicles. For those who are looking never to be caught not having the correct socket to get a tire off a vehicle, this would be the perfect toolkit to get. If you found this video interesting or useful, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, join the subscription team, and as always, thank you so much for watching.